You know when I said Justice League from 2017 is one of my favorite movies? Well, I gave it a 10 out of 10 anyway. I take that back. Not the fact that I guess it, not the 10 out of 10 part, the fact that I said it wasn't my favorite movies all the time, for comic movies or movies in general. I take that all back, that comment. Still a 10 out of 10. Well, the reason why I have to say that this is the most best one of the best that's one of the best comic movies because I kind of feel like these are one of the best comic book movies, and I feel like if I said the opposite, it would be considered very mean spirited of me and a bit out of character for myself. Those movies are Batman and X Men from 1989. Batman is from, and 2000 is what X Men is from. Well, the second live adaptation of these characters from the comics. That has a school of mutants, and Batman is technically the fourth live adaptation of this character. Actually, he would be the third if you count the two 40s run of Batman from the 40s. The 40s run that has separate runs on Batman were connected, so those count as one package of a series. So, honestly, I have as much reasons to defend and insult 2017's Justice League as I do to these movies, Batman and X Men. I have as much positives and as much negatives to say about these movies. So, yeah, I'm giving these a 10 out of 10 also, both movies that I'm reviewing. Get a 10 out of 10, and both of them are one of my favorite movies of all time. And comic movies, just like Justice League. Although, now, I'm going to talk about Batman first, because that's the easier film to talk about, because much more. It's probably the easiest film I could ever. It's just the plot is well, it's not really a plot when it comes to the Batman stuff, but it's a plot when it comes to the Joker stuff. First, I think this should just call this Joker the movie. Well, because the stuff was plot, there's really not much stuff outside of him hanging out, sharing some scenes with Vicky Vale and fighting crime, and even when he does do that, there's still not much scenes of him doing that stuff. So my problem with Keaton is bad. He's probably the worst Batman out of all of them, counting George Clooney. Not because I hate him. My problem is because he's a blank slate. I mean, I honestly think if he didn't have the costume, I wouldn't have known that he was important to the plot. uh, to his own movie. So if he didn't have the costume, I probably wouldn't even care about him, or be mildly invested in his performance. And also, if the Danny Elfman still wasn't such a kick-ass score for Batman, I think I take that back. I think I take all that back. I think it's not the costume, because the costume, more I'm thinking, is a piece of shit looking costume, because it's all teared up and ripped throughout the entire movie. The only reason why it looks cool because it's due to poor lighting in the scenes that it's in. I mean, the best we got look of the costume is when the helicopters shine a light on Batman, and the costume is fully, clearly, poorly put together, and it looks like someone made it out of trash. It looks like trash, basically. I will say the one in the sequel is a much better costume because that actually looks like a costume put together and well put together. Faisal is. This one, there's a bunch of cuts, tears on the costume from head to toe, and the ear kind of is a little damage on the right or left side of what shows, which is my left is probably Keaton's right for his head. So his right head on his ear is a little. Well, I want to say a little crooked and damaged. It's a really shitty costume. So the only reason why I think I care about him is that Danny Elfman score in this one is the reason why I like him because that Danny Elfman score. Holy crap! That's just so epic and kick ass. That's also a big part of why I think I like this movie. But I think it has to be the number one thing that really carries the entire film on its bare bones throughout the three act structure is Jack Nicholson as the man, the myth, the legend, the Joker. He is amazing in the role. Costume phenomenal. Makeup well done, well done. I see you put I wish like Batman had more care and effort and thought put into his costume, but I'm glad that Joker they were smart enough to do what makes more sense to one that has more screen time and more of a character and more fleshed out, and practically more in every way the main figure character of the movie is the Joker. What they obviously put more effort into making him look cool. I mean, I love this. He is the number one reason why I love this movie. Jack Nicholson as the Joker is the only reason I love this movie. I love him even before he became the Joker, but when he actually became the Joker and got dipped in boiling chemicals at Ace Chemicals, or Ace in chemicals, boiling chemicals. I think it was got dipped in. He came out of it as the Joker. He just went a million on the crazy factor and just really going for it. That is the reason why I love this movie. It's because everything he delivers before and after he becomes the Joker is fucking amazing and so much fun. I can see why they made him the main character instead of Keaton, because Keaton couldn't deliver. Looks like he's honestly he looks like he's stoned on some heavy drugs. Is how he delivers. Is that when he's well, it only shows when he's in the Bruce costume. It's only when he's dressed up as Bruce Wayne when it looks like he's stoned. Like he's delivering the line like he's like on heavy drugs. So, yeah, I'm sad the Joker died in the end, but then again, maybe he didn't because he's somehow still laughing, even though there's no tape recording anything that's sign of what I mean, he's probably still alive, but just a little paralyzed. Eh. Still kind of sad. I kind of hope he would return in the sequel, but it was not to be. Just because it's 10 out of 10. Now I'm talking about X-Men from 2000, titled X-Men. Wolverine sucks as this movie, and Hugh Jackman sucks as Wolverine in this movie. He does nothing but stay quiet and calm and constantly get his ass handed to him. The only time when he actually does show he's a badass is two times when he makes his grand entrance in the cage match, and also when he goes to his second round as able to do some work together with the team. It's only when he does something, it's the only time when he feels like an animal, like Wolverine from the comics. It's like, other than that, he's a fucking joke as Wolverine. He's the punchline of this movie to me. He's the Achilles heel of this movie. He's what's wrong with comic book movies. In this film, the first one. Well, he was great in X-Men 2 and Last Stand and Apocalypse and also Logan. He gives an even worse performance than he did in Wolverine's Origins. I'm sorry, but I think Wolverine's is handled worse than in X-Men Wolverine's Origins. X-Men Origins Wolverine, I mean, it's called. Is how badly Wolverine's handled. This is it's actually quite pathetic and sad how poorly he's handled in this movie. I do like how Cyclops is in this movie. And I like everyone has a passable performance. Except for Mystique, I like her. Okay, it's because she's naked. And that might be the reason why, because this was one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up. I had a crush on Mystique, and I felt like a little man. So yeah, I had a crush on Mystique, and that's the only reason why I give this a 10 out of 10 in the first place. And why I watch this, and why it's one of my favorite movies, because every scene she's in, I know it's not badass, but also very attractive. The villain's plan is the stupidest plan in history of a diabolical plan. Because it makes no sense in no way in hell it could work. Even if he did succeed at turning everyone immune. Why? Because, to turn everyone immune, they have to be born with the DNA of the X mutant gene. That makes them, when they develop into immune, around puberty time. Around the times when they are developing into their adult years. So, not everyone is built with the mutant gene. And that's how it works in the comics. And the 90s cartoon, every other cartoon, every other incarnation, including this incarnation of the X-Men. Because it says that in an opening scene that mutation, the mutants are the next step in evolution of humanity, blah blah blah. And it basically says you have to be born of it. It explains it very briefly and while delivering lots and lots of dialogue. So you really have to pay attention to what Professor X is saying. So, yeah. So basically, he will probably kill half of the population if he did succeed. Because while they might be mutants at first, they will, because of, well, while they might become mutants at first, like the president, Senator Kelly did, they'll end up dead, like Senator Kelly did, because that proves that Senator Kelly wasn't actually born with the mutant gene. So that's what's going to happen. So it's like for the X-Men to stop it and succeed and come out on top, and so they do. It was a heroic sacrifice that Wolverine survives. For the power of love to Rogue. Yes. By letting her absorb his powers and almost dying to death. Almost died trying. Almost died while trying. Yeah. And all is said and good, and she keeps the gray hair to resemble somewhat resemblance from Rogue from the comics, and also the 90s cartoon. In every cartoon, every incarnation of it that resembles Rogue. So it pulled the 2004. It pulled the same trick that 2005 Fantastic Four did with Reed Richards by dyeing his hair gray and giving him some slightly gray hair to resemble Reed Richards slightly more from the comics. Even though he doesn't have that much in common with Reed Richards from the comics. So, although his right was 10 out better than Rogue in this movie, I say. So, and that was the Mighty X-Men story called X-Men. And also Wolverine leaves the X-Men to go search for his memory of his past by retracing his steps and going on a wild goose chase that Professor could just give him his unlock his memory, but never does, because Professor Xavier is a dick in every interpretation. And a bit of a pathological liar. And likes to use people for his selfish needs. For the greater good, he calls it. But again, then, so are all teachers that way, aren't they? In a way. At least the ones I have seen, majority of teachers are like that. The ones I run into, so very few of them are not like that, they're the opposite. But the point is, teachers are slight, manipulative fucks, weasels. They are. Like Xavier. From X-Men. So that's why X-Men gets a 10 out of 10. And so does Batman from 1989. Yeah. Both get a 10 out of 10. And I'm tired. I may or may not record more stuff. So, just in case, good night.